Oh, Melissa, I wish I could be here with you to celebrate. I am so proud of your many accomplishments that have benefited all of the citizens of our community. And when reflecting on that, I have thought of numerous projects that have caused our lives to intertwine over the decades. And I would have to say, one of the main ones that comes to mind for me is water, because it is you who has made that happen for us. You and I started in the 70s during the devastating floods in San Marcos. You used your voice at La Otra Voz and the Hays County Citizen to let people know of the need for flood control dams, and we ultimately dedicated them. In the late 80s, we bought surface water, and the water wars began. Your touch on the pulse of the legislature and the Edwards as we know it are what have made us as citizens the recipients of a constant water supply. It is your ingenuity, it is your creativity, and your dedication to the water wars that continue today in our legislature. You are wise, you are professional, your dedication is excellent. Your kindness and your skills are beyond reproach, and I'm proud to call you my friend. I look forward to working with you with Family Justice Center in Village, Maine, and I congratulate you on this joyous journey and wish you every bit of luck. I love you, friend.
Melissa, I just want to take a few minutes to reach out and tell you congratulations on this big accomplishment. It's hard for me to express what you've meant to me. You know, in my new role when I got promoted, you know, it was a big challenge for me being new, and having somebody that I could rely on with their expertise, their knowledge, their history of the organization was just unbelievable. And I really do appreciate everything that you brought to that. But even more than that, I think your friendship, your positive attitude are what makes you a pleasure to work with. And I'm going to miss you a lot. I want you to know that, you know, that I will always think of you as being a positive role model and a benefit to the city of San Marcos. We'll probably be calling you a lot and saying, hey, do you remember when this happened? Because you're the historian and probably always will be. But I wish you and Art a lot of fun, do some traveling, enjoy your time off, and please come by and see us whenever you can. We're going to miss you, and good luck.
All right, Melissa, it's going to be hard to see you go. I don't know if you can tell I'm all nice and hot and sweaty, you know, just like you are from running around all the time. It's one thing we have in common is that we are constantly on the go. So anyways, we're going to miss you, and I hope you enjoy your new life. I'm sure you're going to make it to its fullest, just like you did your career. So congratulations, and from the city, mwah, we'll miss you.
Hi, Melissa. This is Larry Gilley, and I want to offer my congratulations and best wishes on your retirement from the city of San Marcos. For more than 25 years, you've helped shape and tell the story of the city. Through numerous mayors and city council members, city managers and other staff members, the development of the outlet malls and the city's new conference center, the protection of the San Marcos River and its habitat, the growing pains of one of the fastest growing cities in the nation, floods and other tragedies, city-university relations, and celebrations of a city that's both beautiful and diverse. Your message has always been consistent and delivered with integrity. Your reputation in municipal communications is well known throughout the state, and you've been a role model and mentor to many in the city of San Marcos and beyond. You're going to be missed, but your retirement is well deserved. Best wishes to you on your new adventures.
Hi, Melissa. I'm sorry I can't be with you today for your celebration. I know that you probably have a room packed full of guests. You've created so many wonderful, lasting relationships over the tenure with your career here at the city and also as a journalist and reporter here in the community. So I have always enjoyed working with you as we worked together for over a decade. I know I was only 2, and that means you were probably like 15 or 20, but who's counting? Anyway, I just really want to wish you the best and tell you how much I've really enjoyed knowing you and hearing your stories throughout the years. I still look forward to reading your memoirs one day when you write that, and then it's going to finish off with the second half, which is the life that you start to have with art and doing your travels and your adventures that you'll be doing, I know, in your retirement life. So I wish you all the best. Hugs to you, Art, Chris, and Josh, and just want to thank you for a wonderful career. You will be a very tough act to follow. Thank you.
All right, I'm really excited to get to tell you about Melissa's being a part of the start of the Hayes Caldwell Women's Center. Melissa was part of a group of about 30 people who met in 1978, a long time ago, 36 years ago, to talk about starting a women's center, which was going to be a place for personal and professional growth for women. One of the first things they did is they got a little office at the Housing Authority and started having some programs on issues that affected women. And one of the early programs was the chief of police coming to talk about rape victims who needed support at the hospital and how this was a growing problem in our area. They also got a phone and started getting calls from battered women and rape victims asking for help. So from what Melissa tells me and the others in that early group, it changed the focus of their mission, so to speak, and they kind of embarked on this pretty uncharted territory, this journey of uncharted territory, and decided to really try to develop some services for people in the area that needed support. So, as you can well imagine, for something like that, it was a really rocky road. I know that they had people coming to their office who were irate because they had helped their family member that was a victim of abuse, people who were coming who really needed a lot of help, who were battered, victims of incest, victims of rape, and I can only imagine that they just felt like they were in over their head. But somehow they persevered. They got a building that had been previously used by Shibe Mental Health Center, donated, and opened it as a shelter. And scheduled themselves as volunteers to make sure that there was 24-hour coverage with very limited staff support. One of the things that I think is really amazing is that they opened one of the 6 original shelters in the state of Texas, and that was the first one in a small town. When I'm interviewing new staff at HCWC, I share with them that San Marcos was really on the forefront of starting services for victims of abuse in Texas, and Texas is really on the forefront in the nation, and of course the U.S. is on the forefront in the world. So I think looking back at the really pioneer status of this group that Melissa was a part of is really pretty amazing. One of the perpetual challenges of running services like this is the need to support them financially. And in those early days, I know Melissa was part of convincing the community about the problem of abuse and how serious it was, and trying to stabilize the center. She was the 3rd president of the board. She shared with me that during those 2 years of her presidency, she spent almost every day at the office. And so I think we have to give Art some credit for that too, because I know she had a young family, and I know that devoting that much time was not an easy thing to do. But she told me about some fundraisers, and one that I thought was really funny. First of all, they had a barbecue, and it ended up flooding that day. And they ended up, after all of this work, having to just give the barbecue to the flood victims. Thank goodness people had purchased tickets and didn't ask for the money back, so they did still make just a little bit of money. And then she told me about she said it was a basketball game, and I've seen news clippings of this, with the Dallas Cowboys. And so it was a charity basketball game that she played in. And when she was telling me about it, she said that she scored a touchdown. So I don't really know how you score a touchdown in a basketball game. But I think what that really shows is that she was willing to step out of her element and do something that she didn't know how to do for a cause that she really believed in. Today we're serving about 1,600 local victims of abuse at the Family Violence Shelter, the Children's Advocacy Center, and the Rape Crisis Center here at HCWC. And Melissa was a part of starting all of that. Margaret Mead has a quote that said something like, never underestimate the power of a few committed individuals to change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. So I just want to say thank you, Melissa, for being one of those individuals who stepped up to do something really important in our community. We are all really grateful that you have changed our world.
Hi Melissa, it's Mark. I think the thing that connected us more than anything while I was working here at City Hall was water. An endless series of meetings about water all over the region, San Antonio, Austin, a few of them here, some of them involving stakeholders, some of them involving the legislature, some of them involving court hearings, litigation, faraway places like Midland and Pecos. Definitely spent a lot of time on water issues and helped the city make a lot of progress. I recall a council meeting back in the mid-90s when State Senator Ken Armbruster came to a meeting, and he gave you and Billy Moore, then Councilmember Billy Moore, and I certificates congratulating us on saving the Edwards Aquifer. We kind of joked among ourselves at that time, Billy and you and me, and then later when we had a private moment with Ken Armbruster, we joked with him also that saving the Edwards Aquifer was going to be a never-ending saga, and it continues today. One thing that strikes me as I think back on my memories of our time together was a philosophy that you and I shared. And I think about this in the context of the city growing up. During your tenure here, the city has done a lot of growing up. And I don't mean growing as in expanding or the population increasing, and I don't mean growing up as in vertically with tall buildings. I mean the city learning to do things better. But it chafed both of us whenever someone explained why they were doing something by saying, well, that's the way we've always done it. And we both believe, as most people do, that experience is the best teacher. But experience can be a box that people learn to live inside of, and not something that you have to break out of in order to do things better. But we shared a philosophy of thinking outside the box and always trying to find better ways of doing things. And in your role, it really helped the city growing up. I wish you the best in your retirement. Lots of happiness for you and Art, and sure appreciate all the work you did, all the accomplishments you've made while here at City Hall. Thank you, Melissa.
I don't have anything funny. Okay, Melissa. So just so you know, I came in on my day off to do this. So that's the first thing I need to tell you about how much I appreciate working with you. Don't know what to tell you other than everybody I talked to says it's the greatest decision they've ever made and that they've enjoyed it. And so I'm sure you'll do the same thing. You'll probably get to travel. And at least this time when you travel, It won't be, you won't have to worry about the city having an emergency or a flood, because every time you went on vacation the last few years, we've had to work for 3 or 4 nights in a row, and you always got to miss it. So, you know, I'll always remember that part about you. But anyhow, have a great retirement. Don't be a stranger. Come by and see us. And I guess I'm going to sign off and go enjoy my day off and play golf. And again, I want to wish you a happy retirement and keep Art busy. Thanks. Bye.
The very first time that I had an encounter with Melissa was right after I had been offered the position of city clerk here in San Marcos. Coming from a small town, all I ever had dealt with was reporters directly, so I was totally oblivious to the fact that a director of communications even existed. This Melissa woman constantly was emailing me and calling me, wanting to do a press release, and I could not understand why she was so persistent. Then I met her and realized that she makes the city a positive world to live in. I am absolutely going to miss you, Melissa, ridiculously. You've been so wonderful to work with, and you've left some really big shoes to fill. I know that whoever does fill your shoes is going to do a great job, but we really are going to miss you, and I'm going to miss my candy jar constantly being empty and raided. But I'll hook you up sometimes. I'll miss you.
Melissa, I cannot believe you're actually going to leave the city. You've been such an integral part of San Marcos. No, you're not leaving, that's right. You have to stay here, you can't move. But your involvement with everything, it seems like from the minute I became involved with San Marcos, you'd been everywhere that I even thought about beforehand. And then for how many years you were that other woman in my life. You and Billy spent so much time doing water stuff. So whether it was something you were passionate about personally or something you were passionate about for the city, you've always devoted your entire self to it, and that's a phenomenon that, you know, we can't replace. So I wish you well in your retirement, and I hope that the memories from this video will stay with you in your retirement. Thanks for everything.
Well, I'm proud to be here, but I'm actually a little shocked that anybody's making a video for Melissa, because truthfully, those are known as her surprised she got hired in the first place, much less anybody would throw a party for when she retires. You know, Melissa came to San Marcos as a Yankee rabble-rouser, coming here to reform our ways for the ignorant people down in the South. She brought with her some crazy Afrikaner Dutchman from the way he talks, and they just were dedicated to raising hell in San Marcos. And now, years later, somehow she seems to be part of the establishment after railing against it all those years. They even ran a newspaper that didn't have English in its name, for God's sakes. But I suppose if you think about it, that it makes some sense, because the establishment really that Melissa railed about in those days is not quite the same establishment that it is today. It's more inclusive, it's fair, it pays more attention to people of color and to women. And all kidding aside, Melissa was a big part of changing San Marcos and turning it into the place it is today. People now have big fights about keeping San Marcos as it is, and it's this place that attracts hip people and young women. And really, in 1,000 quiet ways, Melissa Millecam, art too, but we're here to talk about Melissa. She had a great impact on that and helped shape what we are. People know her as a liaison for the city, but she started off as a missionary here on the south side in San Marcos, and then she became a newspaper editor, first for a Spanish language paper, then for the Old Hays County Citizen, which was tremendously influential in its day and challenging the establishment. She was head of the Women's Political Caucus at a time when there wasn't a glass ceiling, there was a brick one. And you know, people would actually say in conversation things like, well, little lady, don't you worry your pretty little head about it. And Melissa helped change all that. She worked in the legislature, she was a community leader in many different organizations. And then, of course, for years now, she's worked with the city of San Marcos, helping connect people to the city, to communities, the city to other governments, in a way that's brought some kind of institutional knowledge, and her her quiet but maybe perverse sense of how things ought to be and how they could be better. So all along those ways, she hasn't really waited for somebody to give her marching orders, whether she was a newspaper reporter, editor really, or working in the legislature, or working for women's rights. Melissa wasn't the kind of person who sat around and waited for somebody to tell her that something needed to be done. She jumped into the breach and stuck her finger in the dam, I guess is a good analogy since she's married to Art, and she made a difference in people's lives, and that seems to be what's animated her. I know in my case, she helped me to think and she helped me to write. She was much, much, much older than I was when I was a young person learning to write, and now, decades later, I realize we're actually about the same age, but she seemed much more sophisticated and worldly and helped me learn to think about the world and helped me to write with some clarity. And I suppose was one of a group of people that helped inspire me to try and go out and make, in fact, the world a better place. So it's a real pleasure to be here to talk about Melissa, who has done so much for San Marcos and Hays County. Congratulations, Art, for putting up with Melissa. Congratulations, Melissa, for putting up with Art and all the rest of us for all these years. We're really glad to have you around, and now I think your real work will begin, because now that you're going to be retired, everybody will recruit you for absolutely everything that needs to happen in the town.
One of my best memories of Melissa is being in the Emergency Operations Center when something was going on. And after several times we noticed, hey, Melissa always seems to be missing. So we had this unwritten rule that Melissa could never leave town. That being said, I have a lot of really rich and great memories of things that we've worked on together. Melissa's done a lot to raise both the quality of communications, the nature of the way that we work, and the professionalism of both her department, my department, in assisting with employee communications. And our employee newsletter has gone from being prepared by people with no writing skills, done on a Xerox copy, to a very well-written and fine publication. We're very proud of that. Melissa, it's been a pleasure working with you. You've done a lot to make this a better place, to enrich the lives of everyone in this city, to be engaged, and to keep us all engaged through your involvement. I wish you happy trails on your next journey, and I look forward to seeing you around.
Hi Melissa, first I want to tell you happy retirement. 25 plus years has been a long time with the city, and I can only imagine as the communications director that you've seen people in the community looking at their newspapers now to getting all their information on their cell phone, and it's been pretty awesome that you've seen that whole gamut of communications there. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you I appreciate all your help with me starting in my webmaster position. I had a lot of fun on our trips to San Francisco at the Web 2.0 conference and Tamio conferences. And now it's your time to enjoy life and enjoy San Marcos community in a different way. So congratulations and enjoy. Thanks.
Hey Melissa, I just wanted to say thank you for all that you've done for me in my time here with the city. We're going to miss you, and we wish you all the best.
All right, Melissa, I just wanted to wish you all the best. And I've thought a lot about you leaving the city and retiring, and how much I'm going to miss you and your involvement with me. And one thing stands out to me is when you worked on the Rio Vista Falls project. And I remember you had the bright idea of filming the entire event. And I have to admit that I was thinking, okay, that sounds all right. And then somehow during the middle of that whole thing, I mean, it wasn't back when we had little tiny cameras. You were out there lugging this big thing over this construction site. And then somehow you fall down somewhere else in the city hall, breaking your arm. So then you have Art out there lugging the big camera, filming, documenting. And, you know, but the final product was something that I never could have imagined, and it gave me such a sense of pride that we accomplished that, and it synthesized all the hard work into something very meaningful that I think that the city and the citizens will be able to watch way into the future. And I appreciate how through your career and through your knowledge of the city and the community, you've been able to think outside the box on things like that. Just like the webcam that you and Dan put up on the tower for the AOPA conference. I mean, people enjoy seeing that. It's fun to watch. And I just wish you all the best. I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss the way you think. I'm gonna miss the way you ask questions that help me do my job in a different way, to reflect about what impact we might have on the community that I don't always remember to think about. So all the luck to the both of you. I know that I'm gonna see you around, and I just want to know you to know how much you've meant to the city. Good luck, best wishes.
I want to share a couple memories with you concerning Melissa. 2001, our city was actively in competition in recruitment of advanced micro device new facility plant that which could be located anywhere in the world. And San Marcos, we were actively competing for AMD. And while we were actively competing for it, not all citizens were for it. So I was asked one day to brief this group of citizens who had some issues and questions. So in the hallway, I ran into Melissa. And Melissa said, "Mayor, where are you going?" I jokingly said to her, "I'm going to a barbecue, and I'm the meat on the grill." She started laughing. She said, "You behave." I said, "Well, you know, I always do." She said, I don't trust you. I'm gonna come along and make sure you did." So we went, and during the session, I asked the people, I said, "How many of you believe you can stop the growth that's oncoming to this city?" One person did. That person raised the hand, and in my immediate reaction, one of those that action before brain engagement, I started pointing my finger towards that person, and I look across the table. There was Melissa shaking her head and moving her fingers, giving me a message. Like, uh-oh, behave. And I looked at her, I started smiling, and I didn't say what I was gonna say. And her shaking her head and being there, her presence, actually stopped me being, how I can put it, a 2 seconds of foolish fulfillment, but perhaps a lifetime of regret for what I was about to say. So I thought I want to share that with you. And another incident was that when I first got elected to the office, not belong to me, prior that I was the first Asian American elected to the mayor's office in the history of West Texas. So I was getting all sorts of invitations to speak on speaking engagements. I have no idea about this Asian organization or that Asian organizations. My primary concern was San Marcos. However, I talked to Melissa. She said, "I help you prepare the speech." So very first speech I was engaged was in Houston. So with Melissa's help, I was shared this. I had a standing ovation. So her role in City Hall over the past decades, she's kind of a jack of all trades. Whatever needed, she's there. Those are the two items I'd like to share with you. Thank you.
Okay, so I've known Melissa for about 3 years now, and in that time she's been a mentor, a teacher, a friend, and I think she's been just a wonderful asset to the community and to the organization. She cares very deeply about all of us here at the city and out in the community. She's done so much, you can't sum it up in just a few minutes. So I just want to say, thanks for all you've taught me, and have fun in retirement.
Congratulations, Melissa, on your retirement. I've worked with you for 25 years, working side by side with you at the City of San Marcos, and I've always called you the voice of the city. You are such a talented writer and storyteller, and you capture the simplicity of the story and also what's important. And you have a great work ethic. You follow through. You spend many, many, many nights out in floods and police incidents and all of those things, and I want to thank you for that. And then also, you've learned so many new media over the years. We started off with a homegrown website, and actually you probably started off with a typewriter many years ago as a reporter, and worked all the way up to our new social media and also our SMTX Connect app. You've written and directed movies for the city and about the river, and you've captured the essence and the history of our city and our people. And you've written so many proclamations. I know that you probably dream about them, from the Patriot Act to all of the speeches that make the city look really good to everyone and all of the elected officials and all of the staff. We've experienced so many joyful city celebrations, but then we've also had some sad events and passages that we've shared. I wish you so much joy in your new chapter. And when you write your memoirs, which I know you will, about City Hall, and you get a movie deal about all our time in San Marcos, I would love for you to have Reese Witherspoon play my part, but also just remember the times that we've had here. I wish you so much love and luck, and have a great new chapter. Thanks.
Hi Melissa, congratulations on your well-deserved retirement. Thank you so much for your many years of service to the City of San Marcos, the citizens, and the community. I've really enjoyed my many years of working with you, and I don't know what we're going to do without you. I always felt good when I knew you were the person behind the story. I knew all was good with the world. I'll cherish our Toledo, Ohio stories, and will think of you and Art whenever I eat a Buckeye. Melissa, I hope you enjoy this wonderful time in your life with your family. I expect to have a postcard from you when I'm going through the mail in the city manager's office from all your travels around the world. I love you. Thank you.
Melissa, I just want you to know how grateful we all are for everything that you've done for this entire community. You and Art and your entire family have just been wonderful, and we've been very blessed to have you in our community for so long. And I know you'll still be here, but we'll certainly miss having you in the office and having you come by and knock on the door really quick and ask if I have a minute. I know I'll miss our trips to Washington, D.C. I'll miss our, our opportunities just to chat on the plane and chat over a glass of wine and to talk about what's happening in San Marcos and what's happening with your life as well. I thank you for your friendship. I thank you for your sense of humor and for just being such a wonderful friend. And I will never hold that picture that you took of me coming down the slide at Rio Vista Pool against you. It absolutely is one of my favorite pictures, one of my favorite stories. And I am truly blessed that you were able to capture that moment and that we were able to share such a great story from that experience. So congratulations to you. I wish you all the very best, and you will be missed.
Melissa, I really don't have anything to say. But they made me do this. Known you a long time, you and Art. You've been good friends for many years. Been good neighbors. We appreciate that. I appreciate your hiring me to work for you. I appreciate everything you've done and all the help you've been to us and to my family over the years and all the compliments you've paid to me and to my family. I thank you for that. Even the kind things you said about Dan and Trey, I appreciate those things too. But just between you and me, we're going to miss you. We're going to still love you. We're going to still see you. And we're going to enjoy more now that you're not working. And I hope you do too. And I hope, what's his name? Art. I hope Art appreciates having you home more, because I know you will appreciate being there. You've left things in good hands. You've trained people well. You've put things in place that no other person could have done. And it's very obvious. All I hear is compliments. All I hear is good things, except from Trey. But that's okay. He doesn't count anyway. He's also listening while we're doing this. Melissa, thank you for everything. Good luck to you. Godspeed. Take care, my friend.